Okay, we are live. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get into it. Got plenty of stuff I want to get talking about tonight. We're going to be talking midfield options, potential incoming signings, and new players being linked to us every single day. Of course, we're still talking about Gareth Southgate, unfortunately, but we're also going to be talking about defenders as well, because an interesting link to a Juventus centre-back has popped up in the last couple of hours that we will go through. We'll look at and we'll have a look at the player as well. I'm asking you guys on the poll tonight. Now, obviously, this isn't just like our regular streams. This would be like last night's. You know, we will be talking more transfer stuff. We will be talking more manager stuff. We're not going to be talking necessarily about United's next fixture. We don't play for over another week. So plenty of time off and plenty of time to get talking about some interesting transfer news. So two of those midfielders we have been linked to today, and I have been doing some reading up on. We have Joao Gomes from Wolverhampton, and of course we have Morten Hjulmand from Sporting Lisbon. Two players who we have touched upon a little bit before. Hjulmand has been in the news a little bit more than Gomes. That does seem to be a more recent link, but Gomes is certainly an interesting player, and you're talking potential Casemiro replacement there with Joao Gomes. Could be a really interesting buy for us potentially, and £40 million does seem to be the asking price. Wolves, as we know, last summer had to sell some important players. They had to have kind of an enforced clear out of a lot of top level players as well, that they did have some of their more important players left due to financial constraints. Could that be the same this season? I'm not too sure. I'm not 100% sure on Wolves' financial position, but I mean, Gomez could be an interesting shout. I think if you want to watch back a match to see what he's like, check out his performance against Brentford. I think he made 10 tackles in there, all over the pitch. Really, really energetic player. Seems pretty good in my opinion. Morten Hjulmand, we know more about. Obviously, I've been tracking him for a little bit longer on the channel. Sporting Lisbon playing really well this season for them, in a really good Sporting team under Ruben Amorim, and he really could be an interesting buy for us as well. Look, I think it's it is clear that is the type of midfielder we want. We want kind of ideal partner for, I'm assuming, what's going to be Bruno Fernandes and Kobe Manu. I think that's probably our nailed on starters next season, and then I think you get another and a third midfielder in to really round out your midfield options there, and give yourself a midfield that's going to control matches, have lots of dynamism, have lots of physicality, recovery pace, drive in there as well, and you want to be able to complement the profiles of Manu and Bruno Fernandes as well as possible. I think that's most realistic. Now, I know a lot of people have their thoughts about Bruno. I still am always going to be a big Bruno fan. I think he's got his issues, make no mistake about it, but I do like Bruno Fernandes, always have done, and always will do. So I do think that's likely going to be our midfield next summer. There will be other options in there. It won't just be Joao Gomez. It won't just be Morten Hjulmand. You will have Amadou Onana in there, of course. You will have plenty of other options in there for Manchester United. We're going to be linked to a lot of players, and we will go through it on the channel here. I will go back to making some Google Docs, and we'll go through and like kind of make a curation of all the transfer stuff and kind of tear it all off compared to where we believe. Dark Row down there, big ups to you, buddy. Thanks for joining in there. But if you guys want to let me know your thoughts about where we need to strengthen in this upcoming summer transfer window, let me know on that poll. Now, look, we have other players we want to get talking about tonight. One of them is a player I have mentioned a few times. It's Tosin Adarabioyo, former Manchester City Youth Academy graduate, now playing for Fulham, is available on a free transfer. 26 years old, looks very good for Fulham this season, and it could be a really interesting buy. It could be one of those smart signings we make to save a little bit of our resources and be able to invest in other areas as well. I think Adarabioyo 26 is a no-brainer signing. I think it's a really smart move, and you're getting one centre back in for free. Then if you go and buy Jared Brandtwood for 60 million, for instance, then you've got your centre back sorted for 60 million pounds. That gives you more money to go elsewhere, which is smart. Bart under Tosin was former Man City Academy grad like Sancho McNeil. Maybe United can head to the City Academy and offer deals to their youth team. They could do. I know City's youth team and youth academy, it is players cropping up everywhere. I don't think necessarily there's the best route at the minute from City's academy into their first team, but certainly in terms of production of Premier League and Championship level players who will feature week in, week out and do well for their team, City are right up there as well. Dark Row, will Southgate strengthen it or who? I mean, yeah, I don't think Gareth Southgate strengthens us. That's not my options. He's not on my short list. Let's put it that way. Bart says, I think United need a right back, a left back, two centre backs, two centre mids, two right wingers, and one striker. Realistically, should get two centre mids, two centre backs, and a striker. I think that's probably our summer. I think two. I would agree with that. Two centre backs, probably one centre mid, two centre mids at most, depending on outgoings. You probably get one forward option in, be it a striker or a versatile kind of right wing type player. I think that's probably most realistic. I think we'll want a left back as well. I think these are all potential signings that we do go for. And I think it is interesting. I'm looking forward to covering the transfer window this year. I think we're going to see a lot of players coming in, a lot of players going out. And I guess two of those could be Gomes, and I think Hjulmand could be a really interesting player for us. And I think it's clear the profile that we're going for as well. You know, we're going for a midfielder who's going to come in and complement Kobe Manu and complement Bruno Fernandes, complement Mason Mount, because I think those are guaranteed kind of starting midfielders next season. I don't necessarily think Casemiro will be here. I don't necessarily think that Christian Eriksen will be here. I don't think that's nailed on anymore. So I think you could see two midfielders come in. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think that kind of number 6 position is where we're going to look to strengthen. I think that's going to be key. I think Hjulmand could be a really interesting buy in that area, only 24 years old. I think Joao Gomes could be a very interesting one as well. I think watching back, one of the matches that I did really notice Gomes in was when Wolves beat Brentford 4-1. Really stole the show that day. Made 10 tackles, unbelievable numbers in the centre of midfield, but he did well against United at Old Trafford as well. But I think maybe you could be in a position where you maybe need both, and that could be argued that Hjulmand and Gomez could be needed by United. I think Hjulmand's going to come down the price tag as well. I think the club will be more willing to spend big on Joao Gomez. If both are the same price, I think Gomez probably going to be the preferred option just because he has done it at Wolves already. He is acclimatized to playing in England. I don't know. I can't really vouch too much for Hjulmand's character or what he's like, but I do think he's a very good player. I think looking at his stats, you know, what, 2.4 tackles a match, that's kind of what we want. We want some physicality in there. We want a player who can play a lot of passes. He averages about 60 passes per match. Again, these are good numbers. But yeah, I think that's something we do need to raise the physical flooring. Those could be really interesting signings for sure. I've got comments coming in from you guys as well. Let me see what you guys are saying. Bart said City recently signed a 14-year-old from Philadelphia, regarded as the best American of his age group. Good evening to Chat Sport as well. Thanks for joining in, buddy. Much appreciated. Bart says, would Radcliffe be penny pinching like Ashley, or a calculated owner like Fenway, or would he be an owner like City, PSG, and Newcastle? I think Radcliffe is not going to be I don't think he's going to be a bully type character that's going to spend insane amounts of money. I think that's been hinted to in the interviews that he has done, and I think one of the big quotes is that he doesn't want to sign Mbappe for United. He wants to sign the next Mbappe. So I think that's kind of the route that we're going to. I think it's going to be about production. I think it's going to be about quality. I think it's going to be about high finishes in the league. I don't think profits are going to be a massive part of his overall agenda. No doubt the club will be you'll want to run it in a proper way, and he'll want it to be run profitably for the club's sake, but maybe not for his own sake. So I think it's interesting. That's a question for Jim Ratcliffe, maybe not a question for me. I can only react to what we're seeing. But guys, 3 players linked today. I guess 2 will be what we say are new links. And I guess we'll talk about Tosin Adarabioyo. So obviously 26 years old, academy graduate from Man City, playing for Fulham this year. I've been impressed with his overall performance. I think on a free transfer, you're looking at saving money there on perhaps a Todibo or a Hjulmand or anybody like that. I think he's the right kind of age, the right kind of profile. 6'5", very tall, very good player as well. Good quality on the ball. I think that's key. He's completing around about 40 passes a match in Fulham. Maybe not the most possession-oriented team, of course. Wins a lot of clearances, 5.82. A lot of aerial duels as well. That's kind of what we want. Physicality in our back line. He's quick as well. He will come in and free, and I think that is what we would call a smart signing that helps us reallocate part of our budget. Because you think about it, guys, We spend £100 million on Brantwaite and Jean-Claude Todibo. That's £100 million on two centre halves. We still need a left back. We still need at least one midfielder. We still need another attacker. If you get one in for free, and say you get Brantwaite for about £50 million, depending on Everton's financial situation, on their situation in terms of relegation, that all of a sudden becomes much more doable, because then you've got two players for 50 million. You can then go to full back for probably about £30 million. That takes you up to about 80 million spend. You can bring a midfielder or two in, probably for about £40 million each. And then a striker takes you maybe up to about £180 million. And I think that's where we end up. I think that's going to be a ballpark estimate for me. Now, comments coming in. Bart is down there coming to Old Trafford, but congratulate Manny on his maiden call-up, not to replace Eric. Bart says, I saw Victor Gyökeres just reached 50 goal contributions for the season. If he goes, Sporting will really sell Morten and Ignacio. Isn't the Premier League more quicker than Portuguese Serie A? Yeah, it is. It is. And that for me is why Joao Gomes does seem to be a credible option as well. I think if we're talking similar estimates to get a player from Wolves and a player from Sporting Lisbon, I think based upon what we've seen online, based upon the reports we've seen come in about Jim Ratcliffe, it could be a case that we go for Joao Gomes on the basis that, you know, it is a domestic signing. It is a player who has acclimatized and done really well in the Premier League this season. That could make a lot of sense. And I think that's going to be his rationale. You know, if it's coming to a toss-up, maybe you're safer, or perhaps you're safer taking a player who is proven in the Premier League. I think there's a logic to that. I do think there's a logic to it. Does nice try? Oh, really weird. YouTube's just after asking me, do any of the following affect my content? No, I am a real person. I'm not AI. Alters footage of a real event. No, I haven't done that. Generates realistic scene that didn't actually occur. No, I'm not that. I don't know why they would. I don't know why they're asking me. Is my live streams AI? It's just me sitting in in the room here in front of the camera. I don't know. I don't know. Be pretty poor AI anyway. I think if you wanted to, you could probably do better than me anyway. Let me see. I've got comments from Luman. Bart is Billy still injured in his new club. Sporting Benfica, like Dortmund, never sell more than two big players a season, so being decisive early to latch onto their signings is key, but this is an ununited trait. It is, absolutely. I think you could see Gyökeres go from Sporting Lisbon this season. Do I think Hjulmand goes as well? I think there's track record. I think there is a prior interest from Manchester United there in the player, and that could be an interesting player that we look to bring in. But I think a lot's up in the air at the minute. I do think a lot's up in the air. I'm not sure if everything is 100% guaranteed at this point, but I think based upon what we're seeing online, based upon the reports coming in from pretty reliable sources, I think we can kind of whittle down the areas that we're going to be standing in. Centre back, midfield, attack, probably a left back as well. Those are probably the four areas we're going to try strengthen. You could be looking at two centre backs. I think you should be looking at two centre backs as well. And then I guess it all kind of depends from there what's likely to happen. I have Bart saying, if YouTube is asking if I'm AI, show them my North City scarf. Yeah, I mean, I got one, I got two. I don't think I'm AI. I don't think you guys think I'm AI either. I speak far too Northern Irish to ever really be seen as being AI anyway. But yeah, look, I think I think you have a really interesting player in there in Joao Gomes. You're the right. He's the right kind of age profile as well. What is he? 20, just turned 23. A goal and one assist this season. Not too bad. You know, he gets 4 tackles completed per match. Wins a lot of the ball. And that's kind of the profile that you want to have alongside Kobe Manu to get the best out of him in the long run. Because whether or not I think we agree with it, I think Manu is going to move into that starter territory where we have to be playing him. I don't want him to play every match. I don't think that's good for him. But I would personally go for a Manu, Gomez, Bruno midfield if that was what we ended up signing. But there's lots of different options out there. Anyway, guys, guess another story we could be talking about tonight is Gareth Southgate. Now, do I think Gareth Southgate will be our next manager? I really hope not. We talked at length about this last night. It's not really gone away. We have Roy Keane out here today saying it could make sense, or he could see it happening. I mean, Gareth Southgate is just the most uninspiring of choices. It's as uninspiring as I possibly could think about. If it came down to the manager, I know it would be a case that we'd be looking at coach. We wouldn't be looking at manager as such. But man, I just think we can do a lot better than Gareth Southgate. To be honest, I don't know. I think he's a good man and manager. I think he creates a good atmosphere within the England national squad. But for me, nah, no, I'm not having that. I'm not having that. I'm sure most of you guys would agree with that as well. I know Bart's not a United fan, but if Liverpool were going to go out there, replace Jurgen Klopp with Gareth Southgate, I think you'd be saying like, this ain't the move, guys. This just ain't it. So I'm sure you guys would be agreeing with me on that there one. Look, guys, any more thoughts? Make sure to drop them in down below. Let me see this poll anyway. I asked you guys, where is the most important area to strengthen in this summer transfer window? Is it attack? Is it midfield? Or will it be in defense? Most of you guys are going for attack, 41%, but it is a pretty split poll. I think split because we need all of them. I think we need more goals in the team. I think the backline needs work in terms of a tactical point of view with the personnel we have that's causing us issues. And then I also think midfield, you're looking at Eriksen potentially going, you're looking at Casemiro likely to go. You have a midfield that has been overexposed and struggled week in, week out anyway. So investment in that area would make a lot of sense. So yeah, I do think that's an interesting one. Sport wants strikers, fair enough. I mean, you can't argue with it as well. You know, Luton Town have scored as many goals as us this season, I think, or it's very close. If Luton have maybe fallen slightly behind us, but I mean, yeah, on a fundamental level, we do need to increase our output in terms of goals. How do we do that? Like, do we do that by bringing in strikers? I think, yeah, I think we will need another one. You know, Hjulmand is still just 21, has only turned 21 pretty recently. You don't want to overwork him, and you don't want to overrun him as well until he's physically able for it, because he is still growing physically and mentally. Martial likely to go. You know, we don't want to see Rashford at striker. I don't think any of us really think it works often enough as well. So I think yeah, strikers going to be important. Sport, I like to see strikers of different types. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. You want different profiles. You know, you don't just want all your players to be the exact same. Like if you're striking up, if we have Hjulmand now and we go out and buy someone who's identical to Hjulmand, that doesn't really strengthen us in the sense of giving us a different option up there. You know, if you have Hjulmand and then say you go and get a hold up specialist as your striker, or you go get um a striker who really excels with link up, you know, that's going to give you something different out there. Bart says Southgate means well, but is the gulf between international game and club game is huge. Proven down on their luck, managers use national teams dynamics to find their mojo. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Bart says age profile is also important. Remember, Hoyland's back is an issue. Yeah, it will be. You want to manage stuff like that as well. So I think you'd want a more experienced striker to come in. I think that's what the reports have said. That's what the goal was last season as well. You know, we only signed Hoyland, but we did want an experienced striker. Then I still can see us going back in for someone as well. Um, Bart's on there trolling as well. I can totally see Southgate watching a game in Stratford End, but not in the dugout. Now, Southgate has been to Old Trafford many times. And he gets into the director's box. He likes a padded seat, to be fair. So yeah, yeah. Anyway, look, we have some other stuff we want to touch on. That Adarabioyo story, by the way, is coming in from a couple of different sources. So I would recommend going out and checking them out. I think Attacking Football on Twitter initially went with it. Anyway, got a story coming through here from Tutto Sport. Now, Tutto Sport do seem to be one of these more unreliable Italian outlets, but they said Dan Ashworth, he isn't United's director of football yet, um, has told United to go and sign Gelson Bremer. Um, I mean, Bremer's okay. I just think he can get so much better. Like, I would be taking Adarabioyo over Bremer, and Bremer is going to cost what, like 50 million? I think that's his buyout clause. So I can't justify that when you have a player arguably as good potentially available on a free. So I absolutely would be saying, look, go after Adarabioyo. That's the kind of smart transfer policy you want to see. And that kind of adds up. Look, Rich Fay from the Manchester Evening News said Manchester United have adopted a smarter transfer policy when it comes to selling academy graduates and looking at players coming in. As staff suspecting players will go stale and sour if they remain at the club for too long without an opportunity to play. It's for those reasons they will look to move on more periphery figures as soon as possible. But I also think that'll stand with players coming in. If you want to adopt a smarter transfer policy, don't go spending £50 million on a centre back who might be on an equal level to a centre back you can go get for free from Fulham, who is Premier League proven and has done really well this season. So for me, I think Adarabioyo makes perfect sense. Knows the city, has been there at Man City before. Premier League proven, 6'5", really strong, really athletic, good in the air, good on the ball as well. I think that's a no-brainer signing, and I think you put him in alongside a Brandtwitt, and all of a sudden you're going from uh, having one centre half who can clear the ball with his head to having two 6'5" centre backs. You add in the Sandro Martinez for different profiles and stuff. You know, you got a nice balance there as well. And then if you keep Maguire or Varane or Lindelof, I guess I don't think all's gonna go. You know, that would be a nice cohort of centre backs. And then you got to look at elsewhere. You know, striker, right wing, centre mids. It is going to be interesting. And it's definitely going to be a really interesting transfer window, guys. So make sure to hit that sub button if you haven't already, so you do manage to stay tuned. We'll be live pretty much every night of the summer going through the transfer stuff. I'm looking forward to it. It was really good last year. Hopefully be really good this year as well. No, we got a comment from Bart. Klopp did well by signing Robbo and Wijnaldum from relegated Hull and Newcastle. We should be keeping an eye out on that market, but also look at the Championship closely. We do, absolutely. I agree with that as well. You know, the Championship's got a lot of players down there who are really, really technically good and could easily make that step up to the Premier League, and it shouldn't be looked down upon either. I think genuinely the strength of the Championship would be up there with some of the other European leagues. Like in terms of quality wise, what could be the difference between Championship and say the Belgian Pro League or the Eredivisie or even like the Portuguese league outside of Sporting, Benfica, Porto, maybe Braga as well. You know, for the most part, the Championship is up there. Money spent in that league's very high. The wages are very high. Level of football, yeah, there's a big discrepancy. If you look at what Leicester are doing compared to what Rotherham are doing, it is kind of insane. But there are certainly good players out there, and one of those players we have been linked to from the Championship has a currently playing for Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough, and we did touch on him last night, is Hayden Hackney. And Hayden Hackney could be a really interesting buy for us as well. I don't think Middlesbrough is going to come up this season. I think they're too far off the promotion spot. Hackney is only 21 years old. You know, he would want to make that step up, and he kind of plays in an area where I think we need more players to come in, and I think he could be a really interesting buy for us in the Championship. Attempting around 80 passes per match, 88% pass completion, 9 progressive passes per match, lots of progressive carries, blocks, interceptions, kind of all action. He could be a really interesting buy for us. And I think you get him fairly cheap as well. I don't think you would be breaking the bank to bring Hayden Hackney in. If you bring him in as another option in midfield, that's probably a smart signing. You know, he's acclimatized living in the north of England, playing for Middlesbrough. Obviously, it's northeast, but certainly he is a player who could be really interesting for us, and he could be a really interesting signing. And that's kind of the smart transfer approach that we want to be bringing in. Chat Sport says Ipswich. Yeah, I mean Ipswich have got some good players as well. Ipswich could come up. It's unlikely that you're going to get players out of there if they do come up. But I mean, you gotta be shopping around. Like teams going down, some of them will have good players in there. Teams coming up, you could see teams in a Sheffield United position where they have to sell. Even within the Premier League, Wolves could be in financial difficulty. Nottingham Forest could be in financial difficulty. Everton, these are players, and they have players in that team, in those teams, who probably come in and strengthen us. If Everton end up having to sell or end up, even getting relegated, you could get Jared Branquid out of them. You could get Onan out of them. If Forest go down or have to sell, you could get Morgan Gibbs White out of there. There are really good options in there. Just because they're playing lower down doesn't mean that they're bad players. If they were playing for PSV Eindhoven and we signed them, they probably wouldn't be up for. If they were playing for Deportivo Alaves in Spain, or if they were playing like for Toulouse or someone in France, there probably wouldn't be as much of an outrage. So these are certainly interesting players. Good evening to Sanjay. Thanks for joining in. I've got more comments to go through. Bart is saying, one issue with the players in the Championship, I can't think of a Championship player that has made the transition from the league to a top side. Normally, it's Division 2 to Premier League bottom half. Yeah, it is. But I think there are players who could make that jump. I've no doubt about it. If Jared Bowen went to a top 6 team, he would do really well there. If he went to Spurs or if he went to City, he would do really well. Maddison, yeah, I think Maddison's another example. But I think what you're correctly alluding to, Bart, is that players from the Championship will tend to go to like bottom half of the league, and then if they really stand out, then they could end up with a move. I think it's worth shopping around. I think if they're good enough to play in the Premier League at all, they could come in, and not every player signed needs to be a starting player as well. You know, we have a squad. You know, there's certainly is worth our while taking a hit or taking a punt on some of them as well. Let me actually just double check. I would be interested to check that out as well, like Championship signings as well. Hold on 1 second. I'm curious. I'm curious. Everything Carpy's done there, it's a joke mentioning Southgate. He can't get the best out of the players in the best team in England. He's the worst, worst of the worst. Need to keep an eye on Ten Hag, and how he gets mentioned as a joke. Yeah, look, I would rather keep Ten Hag than let Southgate become our manager. I seriously would do. I guess, look, if we want to talk technicalities here, a lot of these players, you know, from the Championship that you would be looking at have probably been relegated and not actually played Championship football. But some of them are really good, to be fair. Bart, like what Lavy has come through there, Maddison, Ake, Harvey Barnes, Livermento. You know, these are players who've come kind of from teams who have gone down, and I think there is, I do think there is like quality down there. It's just going to be what we do. I think a smarter transfer approach looks all around. I think it looks around. We shop around. We try to get who we can. Guys, big ups on those 15, 16 likes now as well. Much appreciated. I've got good comments as well. Bart knows his Championship well. Owen went from Hull to West Ham and now he can play for top side, but patience is key with them. Same goes for Madison, Norwich to Leicester to Spurs. Absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's the same. Even if you go and sign a player who looks really good from the Eredivisie, say he's playing for Go Ahead Eagles, or if he's playing in the Belgian league and he's playing for Anderlecht or Antwerp or someone like that, he mightn't be ready for the instant jump to play in a top league for a top club. And I think you got a host of players like that. I think a good example in recent years would be Charles de Ketelaere. I think he went probably too early to AC Milan, hasn't really worked out, and I think by all accounts he does seem to be doing a lot better this season for Atalanta. Atalanta do seem to be producing some good young players out there, but yeah, I think those are examples. You know, sometimes you do need that middle ground club, but I think we have to be able to, you know, let players develop and let them grow as well, even at the club. I don't think everyone signed is necessarily always going to be a finished article. Ideally, you've got a core of players, maybe 10, 15 players who you would say could pretty much start. And then if you build the team around with some smart signings, you can develop here, you develop your youth academy and your academy graduates as well. It's going to be a big, big job very soon. I've got comments coming in from you guys. What are we saying? I have Carpy. How this story about Southgate is even getting mentioned is baffling. It's bringing United down to the lowest. He's now gone in a tournament and will fall again with England. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think England would win the European Championships if they had a better manager. They still could go on to win it, but I think it just makes it harder. Like, that team is as good as what France will put up. They really are. Rajad, hi bro, what's up? No Ronaldo playing? Yeah, I think, is Ronaldo injured or something for the Portuguese team? I'm not too sure. Bart says Livramento was a Chelsea loanee in the Championship. In fact, he was an age group captain when they used to dominate the Youth Cup. Dodge United go for Rodrigo, even at £150 million. Yeah, look, there's talk about Rodrigo maybe making. Where it's kind of unfortunate because I seen Rodrigo play in one of the last matches for Madrid before the international break. He played on the left hand side and he looked absolutely phenomenal. Normally he doesn't get to play there because of Vinicius. He'll get to play there even less if Mbappe is there. So it's firmly on the right hand side for him. Now, I have Bart Atalanta has ripped United off in recent years, getting 30 million for Ahmad. Hoyland Fee was on the higher side. Their manager Gasperini plays some really good attacking football. Yeah, look, Atalanta, I've been watching them for a while as well. I think they're an entertaining side. I think really the first match that caught my eye was a couple of years back. They played Valencia. I think they beat Valencia like 4-2 or 4-3. It was a really entertaining match anyway. Gregory says, my opinion, I can give Eric a chance over Southgate. Yeah, I would say the same. I would back Ten Hag to get it right over Gareth Southgate coming in and making it better and fixing the issues that we do have. That's just my opinion. I mean, personally, yeah, I can see some of the arguments for Southgate. Like, he has got England competing and being up there for the big tournaments. He does seem to bring an ability to manage and bring a good environment and a good atmosphere into um, a training camp and into a squad. But I just don't know if he's the guy really for me. Guys, make sure to drop a like on the video. YouTube mathematics are just not working out. I don't know if anyone is what we would call a bit of a math genius or anything, but to me, if I've got 300 impressions and I've got 85 views, that's a lot more than a 10% click rate. That would mean I would need 800, I think, going by that there logic. Anyway, guys, drop a like in the video if you haven't already. Make sure to hit that sub button. Much appreciated. Now, Rajat, he repairs to left or central 10. If we're talking Ahmad, yeah. Or are we talking about Rodrigo? Rodrigo's really good, man. Really good. Chat Sport, Ten Hag with a football setup. I would love to see that. Yeah, look, I agree. I think Ten Hag would do a lot better with a football setup. And if there was the obligation, or at least the ability for Ten Hag to focus on coaching, focus on his own job, he'd probably maybe get more out of it. I don't know. Rajat, will Ahmad stay here? Ten Hag prefers Anthony and Garnacho over Ahmad. I don't know. Ahmad Diallo was at a key point in his career. Like, he is 21 years old. This is the time now where he needs to be playing regular first team minutes. It's not like when he first joined the club as a 17, 18-year-old. It's not like whenever you see Garnacho, if Garnacho was on the bench, you'd be less concerned. He's only 19. You know, he's kind of at an age now at 21, coming 22 soon, that he should be playing more regular football. Otherwise, he's just not going to develop. And beyond these next couple of years, if he doesn't start to develop and get that match time, you know, his career could really tailor off as well. So it's going to be an interesting call. I think he will need assurances if he will stay. You would imagine he should be getting more opportunities. You know, we use 5 subs a match. We play in 3 or 4 different tournaments a season. We play 60 plus matches a year. He should be going away with the Ivory Coast when available, unlike this January. So I think Ahmad needs more minutes, and whether or not he chooses to stay will solely determine that. Southgate has no style of play. All United fans moan about Ten Hag with no style of play. I would rather my nan manage England than watch Southgate. He's that bad. Yeah, I mean, I make a conscious effort not to watch England anyway. I don't know. I think it's more entertaining now. You know, they do kind of play more of a 4 at the back system, which is good. Whenever they play like the 5 at the back with Walker at right centre back, just wasn't the one for me. It really wasn't. Bart says, one thing I would praise Southgate is uniting the England team and changing the culture within the squad. Media relations between the press are quite cordial too. Yeah, he seems to have created a good environment. I will give him that. No, I don't think the football is great. I don't think the management or the tactics are great, but I do think in terms of solely creating a good environment, he's done a good job. Now, whether or not he's the only one doing that, whether that's an overall culture change within the FA to try go towards this model, I don't know. I don't know. Everything is kind of hush hush. You don't tend to get the leaks in England like you do get at United, for instance. Um, Bart, if Bart's down there asking about citizenship. I don't even know, buddy. Um, anyway, I've got some more stories that I would like to go through. I guess we can go back and touch on some of the more interesting topics as well from earlier in the stream. For anyone who did miss out, we were talking to midfielders, to players who would come in and really add to what we've got. Now, as we know, our defensive midfield area, the number 6 position, really held down by Casemiro last year. There's been an incredible decline in Casemiro's performance level this season. Now, whether or not that's this MBS style football we're playing at the minute, where we're up and down the pitch and he's so overexposed, whether or not that's just age creeping up with him, or it's a mixture of both, which I do suggest it is, and I do think it probably is a fact that he's so overexposed in that position, and he has slowed down a little bit. That is kind of making it a lot more intense than what it is. So I think a number 6 is going to be a necessity this summer. Two of those players we're being linked to is Morten Hjulmand of Sporting Lisbon and Joao Gomes of Wolves. Now, I think we kind of came to the consensus and the belief that if Hjulmand was going to cost around £40 million, we might go in for Joao Gomes instead. Sporting Lisbon will sell, but at the right price. If we end up having to pay more for Hjulmand as opposed to Gomes, who is Premier League proven, who has done well at Wolves this season, I think we're more likely to go for Gomes based upon the reports that we have seen, that we would like to have domestically proven players. Gomes has done really well for Wolves this season. Could be an interesting shout. If you want to go back and look at some highlights for these players, I would recommend Gomes against Brentford in that 4-1 win. He made 10 tackles in that match, was all over the pitch for them as well. I think if you want to watch Hjulmand play well, if you'd like to be interested in that there, go back and watch Sporting Lisbon versus Atalanta. Really good tie across 2 legs. So those are 2 potentially interesting centre midfielders that we could go looking for. They are. Now, I have comments to go through. Rajat, he's crap. What am I looking for? Bart says England should do what Iceland did a few years ago. They had 2 managers. Lars Lagerberg was the football prince. The other guy was a full-time dentist. Managed the dressing room. I mean, yeah, I don't think you need 2 managers to create an environment. I think you just need good people within their environment, and it should just kind of happen as well, kind of gel. Chatsport, anyone know much about Sudakov? No, I haven't really, to be fair. Rosette, quality is apparent, but he's physically declining. Yeah, I think that's definitely a case for Casemiro, getting overexposed physically with his own physical decline as well. 2 good targets are João Neves and Jean-Claire Todibo. Yeah, I think they are, but I think Neves is going to cost 90 or 100 million. I think Todibo is a very good player, but it doesn't make sense to me to go and sign a player in that position for £40 million when we could pick up Adarabioyo for free, buy a Brantwood type player for the left centre back position, and nail both positions on for 50 or 60 million pounds. That makes a lot more sense. That gives us budget to get a left back, which we really do need, and then we can attack the midfields, we can attack those striking areas. But guys, if you think we need a midfielder, if you think we need an attacker, or if we need to work on that defence most of all, let me know, and do that by voting on the poll. Now, there's 41 votes on there at the moment. 24% say attack, 32% are saying midfield, 44% now are saying we need to work on those defensive position. I think defence is going to be key in this window. Not only are we going to lose a lot of centre backs, not only are we maybe going to sell Wan-Bissaka, maybe not only is Molasi's long-term availability going to be in question, not only is Luke Shaw's availability again in question, I think you're looking there at a player, a position that we need to strengthen for the overall quality of our team in terms of our tactical balance. I have Rajad Ignacio as a release clause. If we come, we'll probably guarantee. I mean, yeah, that's not a bad idea. There was talk about us release clause shopping a couple of months ago. That makes sense to me. You know, if there is a release clause there, we're paying a certain amount as well, and that's good. Bart, is Casemiro's role the same from last season? Also, he played every game with Brazil and played many games for United. Maybe he catches up. He played regularly at Real Madrid too. Yeah, he did. I think the roles kind of changed because last year we played a lot deeper. The centre backs were closer behind him. We played a double pivot last year, so he had someone alongside him in that pivot, usually Ericsson or McTominay, and that helped as well. Our Fred was in there a lot as well. Fred did a lot of the running work for Casemiro last season. So yeah, I mean, I can see there is a change in role. I can see there's a change in system, but there's also a change in Casemiro overall. I have more comments. Carpe, don't know what's happened to Roy Keane. You can imagine Southgate on the sidelines. I don't know if he's serious or not, or if he needs sectioning. We're going strong on Roy. I don't know. I can't say it either. As Bart said, the only way I think we see Southgate at Old Trafford is if he's watching the game in the director's box or sitting in the Stretford end. I don't know. Kerwin, an athletic six who can also play on the ball in the first phase, and a number 8 in a similar mould. Yeah, I would agree with that. That gives us a nice balance. It means we're not over relying on Manu, and he can get the rest that he needs. We don't want to overexpose Manu. You only have to look at Pedri or look at Gavi to see what playing every single match will do to an 18, 19-year-old at that stage. Anyway, I've got comments. Who was commenting? Bart. Sorry, Lemmon's talking about Modi. We have Chatsport talking about Gregory Sudakov. I'm not too familiar with Sudakov. I know he's playing for Shakhtar Donetsk, so I might have to go watch him. Rosette said it's going to be embarrassing if Tadebo goes to Arsenal or Tottenham. Bart says, yeah, will not leave this summer. This season, Antonio Silva will leave. Then maybe next season. Yeah, I think just the price tag's a lot. Carpi says United will get Tadebo cheap. Why would he charge over the odds for his other clubs just to pay for himself? Madness. United still have Tadebo cheap. Yeah, we can, but the problem is that if we're going to pull the trigger on Tadebo, we have to do it as early as possible. And the reason we have to do that is because we have the same ownership with Nice and Manchester United. There has to be what they call the fair market rate to avoid exploitation. It's why City are paying quite a bit of money for their own player from the City Football Group. In Savio, you have to be careful with these regulations. That's why Sesko, whenever he went from RB Salzburg to RB Leipzig, he went for about £30 million. So that's, those are all kind of regulations and stuff we have to abide by as well. Guys, big ups and 20 likes as well. It's good to see the streams are doing well this week. Really, really enjoying these anyway. The transfer talk always goes down a treat anyway. I've got more comments to go through. Kerwin, 3 new centre backs. Kambala is 1, so we only need 2. Yes, I would agree with that. I think we keep 1 off, if not 2 off Evans, Maguire, Varane, and Lindelof. I think we keep 2 of them. I think I kind of went through it last night. One player we were heavily linked to today is Tosin Adarabioyo. But I think, look, let's talk hypothetics here. We sign Adarabioyo and Brandtwaite. So that's 2 signings for about £60 million. That's really good. You had Lisandro Martinez in as your 3rd centre back. There's 3 centre backs. Then you keep 1 of Varane, Lindelof, Maguire. Probably out of those, we'll end up keeping Harry Maguire. I think that's most likely because Lindelof looks like he's going to get sold. Varane has to sign a new contract. That's maybe not what I want, but I think it's most realistic. So that gives us 4 centre backs. Then you have Kambuala as the 5th choice, I guess. And then Johnny Evans is like the 6th choice, just happy to be there. Going to be a squad player at best. That's a nice group of centre backs there. You got 6 centre backs, you got youth, you got speed, you got quality on the ball. Some players will be good for matches where you're going to be out of possession. Martinez, whenever you're playing against teams who are going to sit back, yeah, that's kind of balance you want. You want different profiles, you want different balances. That's what you need to do. Hey guys, big ups and those likes as well. Let's see if we can hit 30 likes on tonight's stream as well. We're up to 20 at the moment. Only need 10 more. I have more comments. Well, you guys are busy on it tonight as well. Carpe, Frimpong, £38 million right back. Wan-Bissaka go, possibly Ederson. I can see Rabiot on a free. Yeah, that seems to be a story picking up the rounds as well. I like Ederson from Atalanta. I think he's a pretty good player. Could be similar to what we need. So I think there's plenty of options out there for us for that kind of number 6 role that hopefully we will go out there. But I hope we also get a number 8, or we find a way to get Mount in there as the number 8, because I don't want Kobe Manu at 18 years old playing 50 matches next season. I want to avoid that. I want to make sure that he can develop, get the rest, get the introduction he needs, and I think that's how you look after him the best. Rajat said, Goldie says Jean-Claire, 7 out of 10, maybe. Rajat said, doesn't make sense when Ratcliffe owns a club in Nice and he doesn't want to come. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure about today, but I think he's a good player. I just think it's more likely that we'll try to save the money by going for Adarabioyo. We might not. That's just my reading of the situation. Carpi, Tadebo, Brandwood, Elisa, Frimpong, Ederson, and possibly Sesko. That could be a lovely summer transfer window there. You know, it could. I like Ederson from Atalanta. I think maybe if we can get a fullback on top of that for left back, I think that would be good. I think that will be good. Morten's down there. Benzema, Kante, and Ali McCoist. It's an interesting lineup there for sure. I don't know. I don't know. Probably Ali McCoy starts over Anthony Martial at the minute. I don't know. Anyway, I've got more comments coming in. These are actually hard to go through. There's so many of them. Chatsport 30 million buyout. He'll probably sign another contract with a bigger buyout. I like Frimpong, like I really do, but I think he's played more as he's such an attacking role at the minute as well. It's whether or not that's going to be what we want from our fullback, and I'm not doubting his quality. I think we're looking at a fullback that's going to be rotating, kind of doing what Dallow's doing on the other side. So I think a left back's maybe more of a necessity for us at the moment. I think they're both good, to be fair. Really good options. I've got Kerwin. 3 centre backs. Kampala has the ability to be third choice. And number 1 if he develops properly. Yeah, Kampala's potential is insane. He's just been ruined by injuries at the moment, but he does bring versatility. He can play at right back. He's done it before for United. He's got the speed. He's got the athleticism. He can fill in there. That's not a bad option to have, and it's good to have versatile players in your squad. It means that we're not having to go out and buy a backup right back as well. So that's good. That's good. Martin says Frimpong, Upamecano, and Tony. I mean, I can't see us buying Tony. I think he's just going to cost too much. Rosette says, why, man? Am I missing something? Man Utd, Ratcliffe won't buy any player. No, he won't. He's going to buy the players. We don't want to talk technicalities. Ratcliffe won't be there doing that sort of stuff. Look, guys, I got 47 votes on this poll so far. Almost 50%. Almost 50% are saying defense most important. That's interesting. And I know that we always want to go after all the striker options. Tada, prepare yourself mentally for the Southgate party. Don't worry, buddy. I am giddy for Gareth. I can't wait. I really can't. No, honestly, I think the best thing, if you really want to avoid a Southgate situation, is hope that England do really well at the Euros and the FA will want to keep him. Martin says Tony will have a bet on it each way. Yeah, he probably will. He probably will. I mean, you got to respect it anyway. I wonder, like, if he's betting on himself to score goals. Like, if so, you can respect the confidence. Carpe, Tony won't come, cost too much. Jarl Frimpong is not good defensively. That is the reason why we loaned out Fernandez, not fit with the club. Yeah, true. Martin says defense most important. We're leaking goals. Yeah, I agree. I think we can say too many goals, but it also means that we play this like really weird system where the attacking players in the team and the midfield want to go press really high and be aggressive, and then your defense wants to retreat. So you've got half your team going one way and the other half going the opposite way, and it leaves all this space in the middle of the pitch, and we see it every week for United. Rajad, he doesn't need to be good at holding the ball. He won't get caught out. Who am I missing, Rajad? Are we talking Frimpong there? I mean, I like Frimpong, but I don't know. I don't know if he fits in as like as a right back in this system. I don't know. It's one of those things, I guess. Like, not every player we like is the perfect signing for us. I don't know though. Chatsport, Ericsson wants more playing time. Yeah, he probably does. I'm not surprised. We touched upon it last night. It's one of those. It's like Ericsson has got a second chance at football, at a career. He probably doesn't want to be sitting on the bench, but it's no it's no lie at all to say that the problem with Christian Eriksen is that it doesn't look like he can play a full match anymore. It doesn't look like he's playing that much as well. You know, that's an interesting one. Chessboard, I can only like the stream ones. Martin says, like and sub, catch you next time, gotta go. Thanks very much, Martin. Much appreciated, buddy. Yes, guys, if you can like the stream, please do. But I can see we're up to 23 likes. I'm not gonna sit and beg for the likes either. It is what it is. It's been another good stream tonight anyway. Uh Wales are beating Finland 1-0. A goal after 2 minutes in that there one. Fair play. Fair play. What do we got? Carpe defense sit back as the defenders are too slow to play the high line, then leave the gap. The midfield and the strikers press. Quicker defenders play high and compact. Yes, I agree. I agree. Absolutely essential as well. You know that we do that there. That we have a compact team both in possession and out of possession. That's key. Like you watch I think a good example that always stands out to me is Liverpool. Liverpool build up through their centre backs, Van Dijk or Konate, whoever it is. But Van Dijk and Konate's average position will be close to the halfway line, if not always on the halfway line. So they're well covered to stop the counter-attacks. It's the same as City. Go back and watch City, you'll see what Gvardiol does, or Akanji, Kyle Walker, Nathan Ake, these types of players. That's what we kind of need. You know, if we're going to play it, you have to do it. You know, I think it was actually Ralph Rangnick said it. He said it best in a very interesting way. He said, you know, you can't have a little bit of pressing. You either fully press or you don't press. In the same way that you can't be, I think he said you can't be a little bit pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not. You have to press or you don't. So it's up to that. You know, we can't have half the team pressing and the other half of the team running away and just causing these massive issues in the middle of the pitch. Look, it's probably a lot more complicated than that, but you know, on a very simplistic level, that's our problem. You know, that is our problem. Kerwin, I can't see us signing a right back with so many holes to fill. Right back is the least worry. I could see us signing a left back. Yes, I agree with that. I think yeah, if you bring a left back, that's probably good for us. You know, right back, you've got Dallo doing really well. Wan-Bissaka is still there, whether or not he goes, whether he stays. You know, there's question marks about that, but Kambwala can fill in as right back, and those are three options you have there. Worst case scenario, you can probably put Lindelof to right back if he stays. I don't know though. Jarl is down there. We need an all-round wing back. If Shaw was able to be fit, he's perfect in the role. Right now, finding that left back is impossible. It's difficult, yeah. I will give you guys a name, and I've talked about him many times. But if you do want to go out and look at him, it's Miguel Gutierrez from Girona. Obviously, look, it's different. A difficult signing to make because he's part of the City football group, but on the same hand, we still got Amar Barada out of there. Maybe we can get Gutierrez out of there, but Gutierrez features a lot in rotations. A former Real Madrid player. I think they might have some kind of a buyback on him, but thankfully, left back doesn't seem to be a priority of theirs. Certainly, so hopefully we can get in there and get a deal done if possible. But I will put him in there if you guys want to check him out. The Tata talking about Rajat, Carpe. When Martinez, Shaw and Varane play, they play at the halfway line, but now they're injured. They sit back as the defenders are slow and there's a gap in midfield. It ain't hard to understand if you watch it. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's not hard to understand. You know, it's very simple, guys. You know, we want to press, but you can't press halfway. We need to fully press. It's you know, compactness is key. Space is key on the pitch. You know, when you're defending, you want the space to be in front of you because that means that the other team either have to play through you, play over you, or try to take shots from range. You know, if the space is behind you and the other team's attacking, they're going to get in behind. You know, that's simple. Matata, I'll tell your brother to smash the like. By the way, whose turn is cooking? Carpe is down there as well. United can get as many strikers if they want. If the wingers don't pass, they won't score. Hjulmand is one shot in front of Tony this season for shots on goal, and Tony came back in January. Yeah, that's key as well. You know, we need strikers who are going to score goals, but we need passes. You know, Hjulmand for a lot of this season, I believe, has averaged about one pass received from Garnacho and Anthony. You know, our wide players for a long run of it. So he needs service. I think you get better service by moving Bruno further up. I think that will come hand in hand. But I don't know. Bruno might find himself a centre back anyway, based upon the weekend's viewings. Kerwin says, I think Wan-Bissaka's attitude and his new role at left back could cement his place in the squad next season. It could do. I mean, it could do. I don't think he's perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I think he's good in terms of what he does, like out of possession, in terms of 1v1 defending, absolutely exceptional. But I'm not gonna say that I think he's gonna be a long-term signing for us, but I do like him. Hello to Peter Moran. Good to see you, Peter. Thanks for joining in there. Much appreciated. It's always good to see some new faces on the channel. Jarl says, I made a lasagna today. My brother does not like football. It's good. How was your lasagna, Jarl? I had like a I don't even know how I would describe it. I guess like it was like a casserole type dish. It was all right. Like wasn't anything exceptional. Hey guys, big up to those 26 likes. Carpi is down there. This is why Ten Hag he still has Mourinho and all the players and needs time to build his players. Look at Arteta and Klopp took 8 years to get this playing. This is why Ten Hag doesn't have a style of play. I mean, yeah, it definitely doesn't help. The personnel doesn't help. I think Ten Hag should be doing better with what he's got in terms of fixing these big issues we have on the pitch with the spacing and stuff. I think there's things he can do better in, but I'm also going to cut him some slack in that sense as well, in that this isn't an ideal team. You know, having only one left-footed centre-back isn't good. Having only one left-back fit all season, and it's Luke Shaw, who's questionable at best in terms of availability. Having one striker in Hjulmand who's 20 years old in his first season. You know, I will cut him some slack in that regard. I think he's got to do better in other places and in other areas. He can do better, because I know there is still a coach in there, but I think he's got to do... I do think he's got to do more. I just also think he's got a hard hand to deal with at this moment in time. Is it going to be too little too late? Will we pull the trigger and go for a different manager? I'm not too sure. It's an interesting one. There was an interesting quote that came out today. It kind of backed up what I was saying. It kind of backed up what I was saying a couple of nights ago as well, I think. I've got a comment here from Born, just while I read for it. Dallo is good in attack. Ten Hag's try him as a winger, just like Bill was a defender. I think you miss out on a lot of what he's good at then. To be honest, he's good in build-up. He's good in receiving in those midfield areas, rotating in and out. I like Dallo in that role. I don't know if he's going to be a natural fit. You know, something more advanced. I know he did it. I think Ollie tried him at right wing one night. I think it was against PSG in the Champions League. But anyway, yes, this was the quote I wanted to bring you guys. It's David Ornstein. So if Ten Hag was on the market, there'd be a lot of clubs looking for him. If United didn't have a manager, they would be looking for someone like him. They might still decide that he is the best candidate to lead them forward. The decision will be all Ineos. So it's one of those. It's, yes, Ten Hag has made mistakes this season. Yes, he's a poor result, but there's still a good manager in there. And I guess the question we have to be asking ourselves, and based upon what we've seen from other sources and other reports, it's not just going to be a simple case of looking at the form this season and say, look, Eric, we've lost 16 matches this season, you're gone. It's going to be a case of Ineos saying, right, well, if every manager, if we could have our pick of managers right now, would we end up with Eric Ten Hag? Would he be who we pick right now? Based upon everything else, based upon everybody else. That's what their question is going to be. That's what it's going to come down to. I don't know if they will or not. I guess time will tell. Time will tell, and that we will know probably in a month's time, 2 months' time, I would say at the very latest. I would say Ineos are close to making a decision if they haven't already. So I guess we're just going to find out in that regard. Carpi says he's doing the best we have. No manager would get these players to do better with the injuries he's had have been massive, and the players don't listen to what he says. It's all player power. I mean, yeah, there'll be an aspect of that. I think the players are still playing for him as well, though. I think that's different. You know, we wouldn't have won that match of the weekend if the players had give up playing for Eric Ten Hag. I think they're still playing for him. Jarl says Bayern have got Ten Hag on their list of replacement managers, and it's one of Ten Hag's favourite clubs. He could be taken from us. He could be. I mean, that's a possibility. Like, he could want to go himself. Chatsport said, I like Ten Hag. I can see him doing a lot better this next season. I mean, yeah, I think with the right structure and the right players coming in, that could be good. But I don't know. Like, I've had my reservations and I've had my issues with Eric Ten Hag this season for a lot of things. I think some of the tactical stuff has been very questionable. Some of his in-game substitutions have been very poor. Yes, the injuries haven't helped. They've really, really hurt us this year as well. And it is kind of disappointing in that regard that we don't know what this season could have been if it wasn't for injuries. So I don't know. I don't know. Um, Carpy down there as well says Ten Hag still has the best win percentage in United history. First season, third Champions League, won a final and got to the FA Cup. Second season, possible Champions League and an FA Cup. He's doing good. Yeah, he's doing. I think he's still doing well with what he's got. I think he could be doing more. I think he would agree that himself. But I don't know. Like, I mean, if it's gonna come down to Southgate or Ten Hag, I'm taking Ten Hag every day. Kirby, players aren't good enough to play as wet. Ten Hag will want to play simple. That's the problem, and he's trying to push them to get better. And he needs better players. I think the level of the player fundamentally isn't good enough. I'm not too convinced that a Klopp or a Ten Hag or a Klopp or a Pep or anyone would get a lot more out of these players. Like, you can only get a certain level of performance out of Anthony, out of Pellistri, out of McTominay, out of Maguire, out of Victor Lindelof, etc. You can only get a certain level of performance out of these players. I don't know though. Sports, I say this because we've seen so many managers come and go. Yeah, we've seen a lot come and go. I think you would like to break the cycle at some point. Whether or not that's going to be with Ten Hag, I guess time will tell, and we'll find out very soon on that. Look, guys, I'm going to leave the stream here, but there is a but as well. I'll be on a different channel at 9 p.m. If anyone wants to come check it out, I will be on Rich Sports YouTube channel. I'll put it down below in the comments. I'll be on there with Rich and a couple of other guys. It is my first time going on that channel, so don't know what to expect, but I'm sure it'll be a good show. Anyway, I'll put that in there. So I'll be on there on Rich Sports at 9 p.m. If you guys do want to join in, let me know. Latada's looking Lasagna over 10. Fair play. Fair play. Look, guys, I'm going to leave the stream here, but if you guys do want to check me out on Rich Sports at 9 p.m., let me know anyway, and make sure to hop on over. Much appreciated, guys. We'll catch everyone in the next one. Thanks so much for joining in, as always.